All right, got another update. So this is the front pivot point that was on the motion sim. It's currently right there, all kind of disassembled. So I actually got in and tested it today. Pulled out my headset, pulled out my VR headset, got everything connected to the PC, and sat in it and tested it. The rest of it's all down there. And I had these blocks here to keep the arms up into a position that keeps them at least above this 180-degree line here, because that shuts off the motors. And with the weight of the top frame and everything on the top frame, which is now significantly heavier than it used to be, it pushes those all the way down to their cutoff point. So I put these blocks here, basically, that rotates up, and then the block goes underneath it, so when it shuts off, that arm just rests down on there, and so it's nowhere near the cutoff. So when I turn it on, it'll actually the arm will actually spring to its 90 degree point between that 180 line, instead of me having to lift them past the 180 degree line where the cutoff point is and then turn them back on in SCM. It's a big pain in the butt. So, point of me telling you that is, when I got inside of the motion sim, I forgot that I had those blocks there and I didn't get them out of the way. So I'm pretty sure what happened was that arm there pushed down on the block. Its block is currently under there holding the center beam up, because I have the U-joint, or the pivot point taken out. So since I had that block there, that arm pushed down on the block and it rotated the entire rig this way, and I kind of fell out. And since these wheels back here are relatively close together, it doesn't help its tipping. But even if it did, it's a tripod, or a tricycle, so it still wouldn't help. It still would have tipped this way down. So essentially what that did was it bent the hell out of that part there. It doesn't look like it's actually that bent, but when you have the thing that comes out, this thing comes out of the top of it, so far it goes full Leaning Tower of Pisa when it's in there. So that's not strong enough, which I already kind of knew the wobble was due to this not being strong enough. So time to rebuild everything. Now, reusing this piece, if you remember from the last video, this was the piece that I had it bolted onto, and this would screw into a 2x4. But I have welded this onto the actual bolt that comes out, and then down in there, you can't really see it, is the nut. Actually, there's the side view. You can see the nut right there. And I cut channels out of here so that way I can weld this nut to this square tubing, as I've done on the other 3 sides here. And then welded the square tubing onto this plate here, so that way it gives it 2 points of connection to kind of hold this U-joint straight, instead of it just being right here and then the nut being here and this kind of extending and it kind of pivoting around this point here. Now I've got it locked here and actually welded onto the shaft, and then the nut is basically as far back as I can get it, and that's now welded into this tube section. And then let me get that back down there, that there. Okay, so then this is going to go on there like that, and I'm getting it to where it's completely level. It really only needs to be level in this direction here, but I'm trying to get it to be as level as I can. And then I'm going to weld it underneath here, weld this piece onto this piece, and then I have these two pieces of angle that I've welded together. I'm going to cut them in half, and then they'll slide in here because I've got to weld this piece to this piece first. So if I weld these in here and then try and put that on, I can't weld this to that. So I got to weld this to this first. I'm going to cut these apart, but after I weld that piece to that piece, these will slot around the sides, because again, that plate will be on top. Those will slot around the sides, and then I'm going to weld those to the plate down here on the outside, all around. Boom, 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 all of that, weld that. And then that gets added on top. It'll already be on top. So, oops, weld those down there, and then weld them up there as well. So that is as strong as I can make it, and I'm thinking, so it won't want to pivot because it'll have this piece here that's welded on. This is welded onto this. The nut is welded onto this as well, and then this piece will be welded onto this piece. So it shouldn't be able to pivot because there won't be any point to pivot from. And then this will just be added strength to make sure that this doesn't wobble or twist or break or anything like that, just to have an added box section over the top of it. Just gives it a lot more, rigidity and strength. So that's what I'm currently building. Should get this done within the next hour or so, and then I'm going to bolt it on there. Unfortunately, when it twisted, it actually twisted this bolt in the nut. I'm pretty sure it bent this bolt, because when I tried to get it out with the impact wrench, it just cored away the inside of the head of the nut, so I had to grind it off to be able to pop it out. So now I've got to make sure that I can get nuts in here and get these two accessible, so that way I can connect this. And again, I didn't want to have it just off one point anyway, because then it would want to rotate off that. If I have 2 points, then it won't want to rotate on that assembly. But I actually did test it. I mean, I was literally 30 seconds before it kicked me out, so it really wasn't long, but I did actually get to feel the surge bucking a little bit. It was pretty interesting. So this should take care of the last issue that I've seen, but with these things, when you strengthen the weakest part, then all it does is expose the next weakest part. So this was the weakest part so far, so we're gonna get this built up and test it later tonight, and I'll probably try and get a video of it actually moving and me driving and testing if I actually get to that point. All right, talk to you guys later.